Καλώς ήρθατε. Welcome. Welcome all of you. Καλώς ήρθατε. Σας ευχαριστούμε. Το Ελληνικό Μουσείο σας ευχαριστεί πάρα πολύ που βρίσκεστε εδώ σήμερα. Όλοι μαζί. Με τόσο δύσκολο καιρό παρόλα αυτά ήρθατε. The Greek Museum, thank you, all of you, that you are here today, even if the weather is a bit rainy. We thank you, all of you, that you are here to share together a journey in the culture, a journey in the culture and education and the love, to learn and to share and to respect the cultures in general and the art, because this is what makes us human. I'm a bit nervous because maybe my English are not so perfect, but I hope that you will understand me. I would like to acknowledge the Ghana people for their land, and we respect them, we respect their past, their present, and their future. We would like to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Dimitriou. Mr. Dimitriou is a person that everyone knows here, how much he supports us as Greek community and in general, as community. We thank you very much. And we thank the city of West Orange for all these years support to the Greek Museum. We thank them by heart. I would like also to acknowledge Hellenika, the artist, because Helen is not only an artist, she's a person that she has actually experience. Helen helped us as committee member for the museum, as a member, as an artist, and she gave, and she gives, and she will give us a lot of help. Helen, thank you very much. Here you are. And for this actually lecture, we have the 3 beautiful paintings from Helen that's donated to us, to the museum. They are related with the story of Odyssey that we're going to discuss. I don't want to spend more time for the formalities. There are many people that I would like to be here. They are not still, but they will come maybe, so we're open. Θα ήθελα να τα πω και στα ελληνικά πολύ γρήγορα, αλλά ξέρω ότι ο χρόνος είναι πολύ περιορισμένος. Πάντως, ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ και εγώ ως Chrysoula και ως Ελληνικό Μουσείο. Σας ευχαριστούμε όλους που βρίσκεστε εδώ σήμερα. Που ξεπεράσατε, you are really heroes because you actually faced the adventure of the bad weather as Odysseus, to come here to Ithaki, to find me. I'm not Penelope, but today it's my birthday. So you are here, and this is the biggest and the most important gift that I have for my birthday.
Πολλά χρόνια!
Πολλά χρόνια! 52. I can say my age still. So, λοιπόν, να ξεκινήσουμε λοιπόν. Let's start with the title of this lecture. Why we say timelessness? Διαχρονικότητα. This is a word that has a really heavy meaning. It means that Odyssey of Homeros, it's not something that it is now and the next day will disappear. And it is classic. And what makes the people to understand the significance of the classic? That they still remain during the centuries. And why they remain? Because there is a reason, there is a purpose. So let's see together who was Homer. I'm going to have this PowerPoint in Greek and then in English. So some people that maybe can't understand the English, they can actually have a read in Greek. And for the friends that understand the English and my terrible English, and apologies for this, they can have a read in the English line. So some information about Homer. Homer was an ancient Greek epic poet, originally from Ionia of Minor Asia. He was lived around the 8th century before Christ. And there are many opinions about his name. His real name, maybe it was Melissinaki. However, it is more popular like Homer, and it's not the Homer Simpson, of course. Sometimes when I'm asking my students, do you know Homer? They tell me, who Homer? Not Homer Simpson, not that one guy, an older one. And he called Homer, Homeros, maybe from the ancient Greek verb, me or am, that it means this person that cannot see, I mean the blind. So there are many theories that Homer, he was blind. The Odyssey is one of the two epic poems that Homer created. It was an epic poem. And let me make a parenthesis. What does it mean, the word epic that we say? This is epical epic. It comes from the word epos, the ancient Greek, that it means actually something that is describing the actions of the heroes. And the epic poems, that's it. It is description of the actions of the heroes. And for that reason, when we say that, this is epic as an adjective, it means that it is really very amazing, very important, and very significant. So, Odyssey, it is an epic poem for many reasons. The first one, it is that it is at least 12,000 lyrics. Can you imagine? 12,000 lyrics, seriously? Yes. And is divided in 24 different chapters. This is what were called rhapsodies. Every one of these chapters had actually the title of a Greek letter from the Greek alphabet. So we have Rhapsodia Alpha, Rhapsodia Theta, and goes on till the end of the Greek alphabet. The Odyssey, officially recorded in ancient Athens, maybe between the 6th century before Christ. And for many years, the epic poems, I mean Iliad, Iliada, and Odyssey, Odysseia, they passed down orally, by generation to generation, while the rhapsodists recited them on festival. The rhapsodists, I mean in Rhapsody, there were some professional singers, in a way, that actually learned and described these poems when they actually went in different festivals, okay? The politician and legislation Solonus was one that he gave the order to the rhapsodists, to these singers, do not change the lyrics of the rhapsodies. Do not change the lyrics of these poems, just to follow as they took this from the past generations. And Pisistratos, another one very popular politician, actually he understood the significance, and he decided in order to say these poems during the Panathenæa that were really a very important celebration in ancient Greek Athens. Now, we have three different big groups that divided the big poem of Odyssey. We have the group number one, that they are the chapters from A, Alpha to Delta, and it is called with the name Telemachia, from the name of Telemachus. Telemachus was the son of Odyssey. So we have Telemachus, and into these chapters we have Telemachus that he is around 17 years old, and he wants now, he knew about his father. His father went to the Trojan War when he was actually born, Telemachus, but he had heard a lot of stories about his father, and he's trying to find his father. So we have the adventure of Telemachus to go and find his father. We have the Phaeacidia or Nosto. It is the second one very important group of chapters, that during these chapters we have Odysseus at the end of his adventures, that he is now into the island of Phaeaces. They gave to him hospitality, and into these chapters actually we have the description of all his adventures. Everything that happened to Odysseus, he actually tells to the people of the Phaeacia, that it is the island of Phaeacida. And we have finally the third, that it is the murder of suitors. The murder of suitors, it is the suitors, the men that they were in Ithaki, in palace of Odysseus. They wanted to get married with Penelope, his wife, and when Odysseus returned back to Ithaki, he killed them because they were not they were the bad guys in the story. Okay. Now, what is the theme of Odyssea? The theme of Odyssea, actually, it is the nostalgia. Nostalgia. It comes from the word nostos. Nostos, it means actually the feeling that you have that you want to return back to your motherland, to the repatriation. So, we have Odysseus, that he wants to return to his homeland, describe his persistence not to give up to the obstacles that he had to face in every one of his adventures, because he wanted to reach his goal and to finish his life in the place that he began his life. After the end of the Trojan War, Odysseus continues to wander the seas because he had provoked the wrath of the god Poseidon. You know maybe from the mythology that Odysseus blinded the son of Poseidon, the Cyclops, Polyphemus. So actually Poseidon, he became very angry with him, and he decided to make his life, the life of Odysseus, really in big trouble. So after his main adventures, Odysseus, he returns back to his homeland, that it is Ithaki. After many adventures, actually 10 years, it took him 10 years to return back to Ithaki. The Odyssey has inspired scientists, philosophers, poets, historians for centuries and centuries now. They inspired from Homer's Odyssey of Virgilius, Dante, Shakespeare, Cervantes, and many others for many different historical periods. And we have the question, why is this happening? How could actually create Homer something like this that we can follow all these centuries? What is this that makes Odyssey to be one of the best masterpieces of literature through all the centuries? It is classic and timeless. And why? Because of the humanitarian values that it promotes. In general, about the humanitarian values in Homer's work, I mean the poems of Homer, let's mention some incidents that Homer tells us and give us the meanings for which we have come into this world. But everyday life makes us just to forget. So when we study Iliad and when mostly we study Odyssey, we understand that the human beings and their existence, it's not only to survive. It's something more. It is the prosperity. And how can we actually gain this value? It's not easy, but we can do it. The humanitarian values in the Odyssey, they are best highlighted through the following examples. The first one, it is the journey to Ithaki. The second one, it is the Odysseus' arrival and hospitality into the island of Phaeacis. And the last one, it is the ethos of Persephone. The journey to Ithaki and the nostos nostalgia of Odysseus. The word, as I told before, the word nostos, it means that we have the feeling, we want to return back to the homeland, repatriation. It comes from the ancient word neome, that means I want to return back home. And that's it. We use it even now without understanding the significance that has this word. my lecture it is an adventure. Because I like Odysseus. Ithaki for Odysseus is his utopia. And the word utopia, I would like again to make a parenthesis. It is a Greek word. Utopia or utopia, as maybe you say. It comes from the two Greek words ou, that it is a negative one, thing, and topos, that it is a place. Actually, utopia, it is the place that does not exist, that we would like to exist. It's difficult maybe to exist. It could be exist, but it's really very difficult. But we have the hope, because it is the most important thing to have the hope for something. It gives us a meaning for our life. So, Ithaki is his utopia. And it is not coincidence that it is Ithaki, an island, because the islands, they are isolated. They have the meaning of exclusion. It's difficult to arrive to the island. It is a journey that it is lonely. It is a journey that we are doing every single person alone. And not for the glory maybe of a country or maybe the glory of a king. We are doing for survival, but it's not only this. Odysseus' adventures may have something to do, yes, with the survival and the adventures of a young man, maybe, that runs away from the home. And as all the young people that they leave from the home to know the world, they have to face temptations and they have to face pleasures of life, but that's it, the most important. So, we have the sirens, the sirenes, that they represent the desires that we have in life. We have the kirki and the lotophagi, lotus eaters, that they represent maybe the drugs or the alcohol or whatever in life. We have the calypso. When I say we have, I mean that during our reading we find into Odyssey. Everything, it represents something that we face in our life. And we see that since Odysseus returned to Ithaki, clearly more mature and experienced, and definitely old in age, he finds here what? He finds, my dearest Beatrice, welcome. Welcome, my dearest. So, the suitors that he should, in the proper time, in the proper place, in the proper way, to exterminate them. And he did it. So we have Homeros that actually extols the wisdom, the self-control, the intelligence, and the determination based on reason. Odysseus, now more mature, settled, and convinced of the futility of the war, he begins to describe the nostalgia to the Phaeacians and the journey back to home and to very important values of family, of friends, of property, of tranquility. But even when he arrived back to Ithaki, to his utopia, he did not find what he dreamed, what he expected to find, because he had to fight against the suitors and exterminate them still. So we understand from this that Homer wants to show to us the unique way that Odysseus actually, with the value of patience, he found the final victory. Because he believed that in everything that it was done for a purpose, for a reason. And the purpose was what the poet Cavafis mentions into his poem of Ithaki. I would like to ask the audience, but do not be worried if you cannot answer to this. Is there someone maybe that you have heard Konstantinos Kavafis, the popular poet, and so on? The poem that I'm going to read And I'm going to read this poem in my language, because you cannot feel a poem in another language except the language that it was written. But you can read the English lyrics. It is a poem that in Greek schools we learn. Every single student in senior school, I mean year 11 or year 12, we learn this poem. And we feel it. This was a poem that when I actually met in my school, I started to think about who is Cervantes. And maybe you understand how important it is. So, I'm going to read this one. Although the poem refers to Ithaki, first of all, it is a journey back and forth. The poem's traveler set off for Ithaki. Σαν βγεις στο πηγεμό για την Ηθάκη, να εύχεσαι να είναι μακρύς ο δρόμος, γεμάτος περιπέτειες, γεμάτος γνώσεις. We should hope that the trip will last a long time and be full of adventures and knowledge. Τους Λεστριγόνας και τους Κύκλοπας, το θυμωμένο Ποσειδώνα, μη φοβάσαι. Τέτοια στο δρόμο σου ποτέ δεν θα βρεις. Αν μένει η σκέψη σου υψηλή, αν εκλεκτή συγκίνηση, το πνεύμα και το σώμα σου αγγίζει. So, the journey to Ithaki will not have difficulties if the traveler keeps his thinking at a high level, if he does not deal with small things and trivial matters. If he has his goal in mind and insists in his realization, he will not encounter great difficulties along the way. However, during the journey, he must offer to his spirit, as in his body, high-quality thrills, and not to deal with meaningless pleasures. Τους Λεστριγόνας και τους Κύκλοπας, τον άγριο Ποσειδώνα δεν θα συναντήσεις, αν δεν τους κουβανείς μες στη ψυχή σου, αν η ψυχή σου δεν τους στείνει εμπρός. And that it is the last one that I have read. Lyrics, the Lestrigons and the Cyclops, the wild Poseidon, you will not meet if you don't carry them in your soul. The people themselves are the ones who set up obstacles in their way, because they are afraid to dare, because they are afraid to claim their dreams. Πάντα στο νου σου να έχεις την Ηθάκη. Το φτάσιμο εκεί είναι ο προορισμός σου. The traveler should always keep in mind Ithaki, the goal he has set in his life, his destination. Because if he does not constantly think about the realization of his goal, there is a risk that he will abandon his initial effort and deviate into something less important. If we do not constantly have in our mind the goal we have set in the beginning, there is a possibility that we will settle for something less, give up our efforts. But Ithaka doesn't have to give you up anymore. And don't wreck the trip at all. So, always keep Ithaka in mind. Αλλά, μην βιάζεις το ταξίδι διόλου. Καλύτερα χρόνια πολλά να διαρκέσει και γέρος πια να ράξεις στο νησί. The poet tells us that there is no need to rush. And this is because travel is our life. And the end of the journey is identified with the end of our lives. Travel is the only way to have many experiences, to gain a lot of knowledge and have a series of amazing events, so there is no reason to rush it. Πλούσιος με όσα κέρδισε στον δρόμο, μη προσδοκώντας πλούτη να σου δώσει Ιθάκη. Rich with what you have earned on the street, not expecting riches to be given to you by Ithaki. We will arrive in Ithaca. We are rich in knowledge and experience that we will have gained during this trip. Ithaki has no rich to give us. Ithaki is the end of the journey. Ithaki σου έδωσε το ωραίο ταξίδι. Χωρίς αυτή δεν θα έβγαινε στον δρόμο. Ithaki gave you the motivation to have this trip. Was the motivation for this trip. It was the reason why we started of our trip. It was for the sake of Ithaki that we were able to meet so many new places, so many people, and gain so much knowledge and so many experiences. Αλλά δεν έχει να σου δώσει πια. Κι αν πτωχική τη βρήκε στην Ηθάκη, η Ηθάκη δεν σε γέλασε. Η Ηθάκη gave you the nice trip. Without her you won't be out on the street. But Ithaki does not have to give you up anymore. And if you find Ithaki bankrupt, Ithaki didn't laugh at you. Κι αν φτωχική την βρεις, η Ithaki δεν σε γέλασε. Έτσι σοφός που έγινες με τόση πείρα, ήδη θα το κατάλαβες, οι Ηθάκες τι σημαίνουν. So, when the traveler starts the journey for the first time, he is inexperienced, without much knowledge, and considers Ithaki to be something special that is worth every effort on his part. But when he arrives there at the end of his destination, he has acquired so much knowledge that he is now able to understand that the greatest value of Ithaki is that it was the motivation to start this journey. It was the source of strength to be able to cope with the needs of life, and that is why it was actually worth every effort. The truth is that, in fact, there is not only one Ithaki. There are many, just many, that they are the goals that we put in our lives. Every time that we achieve a goal, we immediately set a new one. And so we continue to try, to strive, to do something more, to do something best that we can do in our lives. Now, I'm going to show you, are you following, first of all? Do you understand my English? Wonderful. So, we're going to watch something for a film, that it is a film that it is called Odyssey of 1997. Panagiotis, can you tell me again the name of the actor, please?
I don't remember.
Okay, you can Google it, it is for free in YouTube. Just write Odyssey movie film 1997. It is the best one version. I have seen that at least 2-3 times. There are some highlights that I want to actually open. Yes. Here it is. Here we have Odysseus that he is in the underworld, and he finds actually Tiresias, and he asks him, how can I actually return back home? Ella. Panagiotis, come here, please. Yes.
Patato. Okay.
First, when you understand this, will you understand the meaning of
The meaning of wisdom. Just cut it. So we have Tiresias here, that it is blind. Maybe you know Tiresias, he was a magician. He could actually predict the future, and he's not the underworld because he's dead. And when Odysseus asked him, give me the way, show me the way, and he told him, It's not only that you have to return back to Ithaki. The main, it is actually the important, it is actually to enjoy the trip. Okay? The two Ithakes, the Ithaki of Cavathis, the poem Ithaki of Cavathis, and the Ithaki of Odysseus, they show the most important timeless value of human existence, the need for survival and prosperity. Homer shows us the way, teaching us not only the value of survival and achievement of the goal, but also the value of the path to that point and our well-being. Homer was not only a rhapsodic poet, he was a very philosopher, wise person, wise man. He was a teacher who in a mystical way and through poetic allegories taught us very, very important moral principles. And one of the most important principles, it is what it happened into the island of Phaeacia. The value of a peacefully organized and hospitable society. Arrival and hospitality of Odysseus on the island of the Phaeacians. Value and ideals are found in several places of Rhapsody Iota, Eta, Theta, that they are the three chapters actually that we have description of the hospitality that the Phaeacians offered to Odysseus, and Odysseus had actually the chance to describe all these adventures. So we can see the custom of hospitality, that it is very popular for the Greek culture and history into the island of Phaeacians, and we can see how it is constructed the society of that people, of these people. The value of friendship, of family, of love that connects the people that they are members of the society, their participation in the commons, and their responsibilities that they actually accept to have, the productive work, and much more. Even if the word of Odyssey, it is a word that has a lot of crisis, maybe sometimes we can face the human weakness through the actions of the humans and the gods, because and the gods, they play a really crucial role into this poem. Anyway, it's not a confused world. It is a world that we have the values and the institutions. We have the morals and the customs. We have the traditions. And behind the actions and the attitudes of heroes and gods, there seems to be an institutional, moral, and social background. There is a philosophy about life that governs the moral and social fact, the human and the collective. Otherwise, Odysseus' faith for the gods, respect for the dead, the value of the honor, the love of life could not be understood. For example, the laziness is condemned. That means that men and women all the work. They did not have Centrelink there, maybe, who knows? Everything loved to work, and everything, even if it was a person rich or not, king or whatever, they wanted to contribute for the common wealth, for the society, the community. The work and knowledge that characterizes the society of Phaeaces highlight the family and social values. So, Homer in Odyssey is giving us the vision of a peaceful and utopian society into the island of Phaeacians. And we can be inspired from this model to maybe try to have maybe something similar. Now, the role of the gods, the value of worshipping the gods. The gods enforce moral order and punish those who transgress. Let's see what's going on with the gods. Όπα, Παναγιώτη. Again.
Θες να πας πίσω το πίσω βελάκι.
Όχι, θέλω να πάω σε αυτό. Here we are. Technology.
I want you to suffer.
This bad guy that is speaking, he is actually Poseidon, okay? The good one, it is Odysseus, Poseidon.
Speak to me! Speak to me! That without gods.
Man is nothing. Without God, man is nothing. He's suffering από μίλης, το παιδεύει πολύ. Πολύ το παιδεύει ο Ποσειδώνας. And maybe the next one. So again, Poseidon.
A man is nothing without the gods. You will suffer for this offense. For your hands.
Λοιπόν, θα πληρώσεις για αυτή την προσβολή. So he's really a very bad person? No, maybe not. We don't know. But the respect to the gods, it was really a very important value for the Greeks. And they get scared of the gods if they did not do the right thing. And just a parenthesis to tell you something about philoxenia. You know the word philoxenia, they say many things, that it means hospitality, that it is a word that we cannot say how to say this in English, etc., etc. Philoxenia comes from two different words. Philos, that it is a friend, και xenos, that it is a stranger, the person that is not known to us. So, the custom was actually, why the Greeks do you believe that they were philoxeny? They had this love to offer the hospitality. For what reason? Because of the fear. Yes. They believed, the ancient Greek people, that maybe the stranger that will knock our door, maybe during the night, and ask hospitality, it could be a god, that it was masqueraded, so changed his face, his appearance, so we cannot recognize, and he actually triggered us to see if we are going to offer food, if we are going to offer comfortable conditions. So for that reason, because of the fear, they said that, we have a stranger, it is maybe 10 the evening, but never mind. We open our door, we offer to him or to her food without asking, who are you and what do you want here? Without asking, offering food, make him or her feel comfortable, and after this, that they cover the basic, they ask, okay now, would you like to tell me who are you and why you're here? And they believe that if this stranger, αυτός ο ξένος, he was maybe Zeus, he would be happy and say, oh, Panagiotis is a good guy, I'm not going to punish him. And that's it, the fear. Now some people maybe they will say, oh, that's not good to fear things, but no, you can keep your ideas and we can discuss this later. So, the respect to the gods, it's another parameter of the scale, on the scale of values, which highlights people's self-awareness as mortal and their existential need that becomes faith. The gods, although they have human weakness, impose moral order and lawfulness and punish those who exceed the measure. Now, the word measure, it is a word that I cannot translate correctly in English. Maybe you can help me. But in Greek language, it is a word metro. Metro, it means that you keep the balance into your life. And this is the basic one, actually value to have the balanced life. So, όταν λέμε στα ελληνικά, κρατάει το μέτρο, when we say in Greek language, κρατάει το μέτρο, it means that you have to have a balanced life, take your decisions, and do not exaggerate as more as you can, of course, because we're human. And any any kind of exaggeration, even if it is negative, or even if it is positive, the outcomes finally are not good. So we say, "Krata to metro," keep the meter, keep the balance, keep the measure. I don't know how to say this correctly in English. "Krata to metro," and they say "pan metron ariston." So everything that it is under the thinking of that balance, it is perfect. This is a big value. So the honor as the highest value, the honor, itimi, life as a self-denial, hospitality, good competition, the promotion of peaceful life are values that promote human societies, and they're projected in Odyssey. And now let's go to the most important, not yet. Yes, to the most important person, not the most important, but it is actually a woman, so I have to say some more. Do you agree? Very tricky. Yes. So let's talk about Penelope. We say nowadays, ακόμα και στις μέρες μας, Penelope, είναι πιστή Penelope. We say, είναι πιστή Penelope, she is the faithful Penelope. It is actually honor for a wife to tell the others that you are the faithful Penelope. Why? Who was Penelope? She was the wife. Εντάξει, ήταν η γυναίκα του Οδυσσέα. But why she is so popular that she was faithful? For what reason? The value of marital loyalty that she had. The love and Penelope's ethos as a model of a faithful wife. In many different verses, Penelope is presented as beautiful, prudent, as an excellent mother, as particularly intelligent, inventing the struggle with Odysseus' bow for suitors, that we can see later, and as a good wife. The virtue of patience, intelligence, kindness, a sensitive mother, a good wife, a housekeeper, and beautiful are highlighted in many different parts into this Odyssey. Penelope's ethos is one of the poet's most beautiful and perfect creations when he described that into his lyrics. It is in contrast with the action of the suitors, the men that they were into the palace of Odysseus waiting when Penelope actually takes the decision who of them she will marry, who they were actually absolutely immoral. They were the bad guys of the story, and the poet gives a moral model to the person of Penelope. So, into Odyssea, we can find many adjectives like Posios Pyromeni, Echethron, Perithron Penelopia, that accompany Penelope and show the character of the patient and prudent wife who puts the stranger Odysseus to the test before recognizing him as her husband. So when Odysseus returned back, he actually went and talked with Penelope, he did not mention from the beginning that I am Odysseus. I really strongly recommend to watch this film. That's really very interesting. So actually she was really very suspicious and asked a lot of things and told a lot of things to see who was that person, who was that strength. So she is really a very wise woman. And this wisdom makes Odysseus actually to appreciate mostly his wife. Let's see now beautiful Penelope here. Not his fortune, but not his wife. So here it's really open. It's really very important to see that in Rhapsody Tough, the poet gives Penelope's devotion to her absent husband in the most successful way. Penelope speaking to the unknown stranger Odysseus, because as I told you before, when Odysseus met finally Penelope, he was masqueraded as an old man. So actually, Penelope could not imagine that she has in front of her husband. And we have a dialogue there, a conversation between these two people, and speaking to the unknown stranger Odysseus, after referring her pain for Odysseus, she arrives at the motive of the wave, the loom of necessity, and her divinely inspired deceit when she wed her woven fabric in the morning and spoiled it in every night. What I want to say here is, she was inspired by the divine to actually give an excuse to the suitors that are waiting to decide who's gonna be the lucky one husband. So she actually told them, okay guys, I'm going to wear something that it is the clothes that my dearest father-in-law will wear when he passed away. And when I finish this promise, I will give you my decision. So they have to wait. The point is that Penelope was very brilliant, and she told, okay, I'm gonna do the wedding during the morning, but during the night I'm gonna destroy this. And from the morning I'll start from the beginning. So the time is going on, and she can and she had the time to let it be. But unfortunately, what happened? A servant, this beautiful lady that told her, mistress, you're very beautiful, why you don't get married? She has some good relationships with one of the men, and she actually informed him for the plan of Penelope, and Penelope get blackmailed, and the things are getting very difficult for Penelope now. So, Penelope, as a clever woman, has been deceiving the suitors for 4 years, please, with her deceit. She tells Odysseus that she is frustrated by the ways of the suitors, and that herself was forced to confess her deceit to the suitors when a servant of hers went to the side of the suitors and blackmailed her. We see that Penelope's wedding is associated with the nostalgia of her beloved husband, Odysseus, with her faith, with respect for her father-in-law and public opinion, and often in Homer's work, the gods and mortals wave also. This is another one, cultural information element about those years. It was a work that is right, and it is a right, and it is a value into the close economy of the Homeric world. So we have the moral values, and on the other hand, we have also some information, cultural information about how that society was built and flourished. Okay? Are you following me? Yes. Another element that shows us the faith of Penelope, and it is evident, it is her decision to take her oath at the request of Odysseus before his departure for Troia, Odysseus says to Penelope, and our child, when you see that he has grown a bird, leave your house, marry whoever you want. Here Odysseus asks from Penelope to marry again, but first their son Telemachus must have come of age, must be actually adult. However, now that Telemachus has become an adult, and the time has come for Penelope to decide which suitor she will choose for her future husband, she is taking the last one challenging test for suitors. So the things are getting really very difficult for her. So she had actually to think quickly and find something very brilliant. So Penelope announced the bow-stretching context of Odysseus, something that in reality only Odysseus himself could do and no one else. This detail was of course not known to the suitors. This suitor who would manage to stretch the bow could marry Penelope. So here is Odysseus that has this conversation with Athena. Actually, Athena is one of the gods of the Olympus that actually protect him, because Athena believes that Odysseus is a person actually talented to use his thinking, his critical thinking, his brain, his logical thinking, that it is very important for taking decisions. Okay, so she tells him, she gives actually the advice, you have to do the right thing in the proper time, with the proper way, if you want to have the outcomes that you want to have. That's very important. It is a lesson for all of us. So, in conclusion, the Odyssey, as an epic poem, is the oldest European literary text from which we can form an image, an idea of the life of people before and during the 8th century BC, where through poetic verses Homeros presented myths and stereotypes, stereotypa. As mythology and as a didactic reading, as pleasure, as form and content with its values, with the ethos of heroes, it can contribute to modern man discovering his own truth from the other paths beyond science, and with this unique reading as a dynamic, unique experiential experience to highlight humanitarian values. The Homeric society emerged from myth and seeks the world of reason, of reasonable thinking and action, and justice and virtue. The highest value of Homer is not the fear of God, but respect for values such as ethos and justice. Ethos, it is another one word that it's very hard to explain in English language. Maybe someone from the audience can help me to this, and I would like. It means actually to, it's not exactly saying, if you're doing the wrong thing, I can tell you, you don't feel any shame for this that you're doing. But it's not only this, it has a different value, significance. It means that you actually, not scared, but actually reflect, and you're thinking that, oh, I should not do this, because it goes against the moral, in general, values. For example, say if you see an old man on the bus, and you are sitting, and you see the old man, and you're just sitting, listening music, and say, don't care, it's not a dose here. Are you not saying, you see the old man, you have to respect. So something like this, if you can understand, maybe. I hope that I don't make this more confusing. So we have the dose and we have the justice. Most Homeric heroes are models of morality, kindness, sensitivity, and can transmit these values and principles, and inspire the modern reader of Homeric epic poems. And finally, we return back to the question, what is the timelessness for Odyssey? Finally, Homer will remain the eternal and great glory of the Greek spirit, the source of wisdom and knowledge of the rich Greek language that it is plenty, so it's beautiful if we can read. I cannot read the ancient Greek, to be honest, but I have the modern Greek. That's really the rich of Greek language. No words. He combined all the values of Hellenism: virtues, heroism, sacrifice, friendship, love, ethos, wisdom, science, arts, poetry, beauty, and the culture of the Homeric society, and actually reflect to us what of these values we are following nowadays. In addition, with regard to the educational and didactic value, educational and didactic value of the Odyssey, we must underline that it is significant because it contributes to the mental and spiritual formation and regeneration of every person. The Odyssey can give to the modern man the alertness of the spirit, motivate him to judge correctly, to seek moderation and balance in his life, to respect the generations and foreign property, to understand and respect places and universal values. The reader is not only informed, but also sensitized and deepened to individual and collective values, that they are timeless, and to have this love for the family relationships, paternal and maternal love, the value of dialogue, the promotion of peaceful life, and visual sensibilities as art as model in his life. Finally, summarizing, and thank you very much for all this patience that we have shown to me, to us. Summarizing, the contribution and timelessness of the Odyssey to modern man and society, I believe that both the family and the school, and here it is actually the question to the educators and the people that create the curriculums, they should focus on teaching of Homer's epic poems as school and extracurricular reading. We can turn the interest of our students to the study of the Odyssey, where they will discover universal human situations and emotions, and beyond the aesthetic pleasure that it offers as a literary reading, because it has a lot of adventures and all this agony, what will happen, they may find support in their lives and in their dead ends, reading not only Homeros, but also and other old and modern authors. And they thank you for Cervantes. That's it. Thank you very much. I would like to have the time to read this also in Greek, because I would like to have the chance to listen this beautiful language that it is a Greek one. Θα ήθελα ειλικρινά να μπορούσα να είχα το χρόνο και να είχατε την υπομονή να τα έλεγα και στα ελληνικά για να ακούσετε την ομορφιά και το πλούτο της ελληνικής γλώσσας.
Πες το, μην το καθυστερείς, πες το.
Να τα πω όλα αυτά στα ελληνικά.
Δεν είναι ένα πρόβλημα. Όποιος καταλάβει, καταλάβει.
Τα ελληνικά. Είναι μια όμορφη γλώσσα. Αλλά κάθε γλώσσα είναι ωραία. Γιατί δημιουργείται από την ανάγκη των ανθρώπων να επικοινωνήσουν. So I said that Greek, they're really beautiful language, but every language is beautiful because it covers the need as we have as human beings to communicate. So every language, even if it's not so old or so rich as they are the Greek, maybe, deserves our respect. Σας ευχαριστώ πάρα πολύ. Θα ήθελα επίσης να ευχαριστήσω ξανά όλη την ομάδα του Ελληνικού Μουσείου που βρίσκεται κοντά μας, όλους τους ανθρώπους που μας υποστηρίζουν ως Ελληνικό Μουσείο. Προσπαθούμε να υποστηρίξουμε την παιδεία και τον ελληνισμό. I'm not going to say more things, maybe, I'm sorry, I forget something. You are welcome to see the exhibitions. the beautiful exhibits that we have here that are really very old. They are precious, they are donated by families, they have their history, it is art. You are welcome. Thank you.